Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we're going to be featuring a team that was featured on Yasser's channel, and it is from V Basti. I think that's how you pronounce the name. Usually a very fun battler. Has a lot of really interesting teams. In this case, we're running Shadow Swampert, Shadow Staraptor, and Galarian Weezing. In this case, with the Fairy Wind, Overheat, and Play Rough. So obviously going into a bad lead here. This one's kind of tough here just because sometimes the Cresselia has Future Sight. And sometimes they have Grass Knot. So we're going to try to attempt to make the catch, but then they end up farming up a lot and they go for the Future Sight. And the general premise is you don't shield. They need 2 moves to KO me. So I am going to throw the... Oh, they can also shield and farm down if they want to. So I will throw the Play Rough, and if they don't throw, then I'll make it to an Overheat, which I just barely do. So I grab a shield, which is pretty good for me. And now I'm going to bank that they don't have Grass Knot, so I'm going to wait the clock. And then we'll see if Staraptor up a shield can do something. I let this go. I get the Mud Shot through, which is very nice for me. They do throw the Moonblast. Unfortunately, I get debuffed there, so I will throw the Hydro Cannon. And we will see how this is going to play out. We're immediately going to go to Staraptor. And we're going to be met by Poliwrath here. And they come in with Golisopod. I'm going to try to throw right before the Aerial Ace. And this fly should be enough to take them out. They end up no shielding, which makes perfect sense on their side. And I'm in a pretty good spot. Poliwrath and Staraptor 2 shields up is extremely uncomfortable matchup. Thankfully, I am up a shield and as well have an energy advantage. So I'm going to throw the fly and then throw the second fly, and that is going to be GG's. And that should be enough here. This fly is going to deal super effective damage. Shadow Staraptor is super glassy, but is also a glass cannon, so it does quite a bit of damage. So worked out pretty well for me, saving 2 shields there. They actually were extremely weak to, I guess they were pretty weak to Galarian Weezing as well. Okay, so interesting lead here. So it just depends on who wins CMP. I actually found out that my Shadow Swampert usually wins CMP, as you see there. So I will throw the Hydro Cannon. Earthquake wouldn't KO. They end up shielding. That's okay. I'm not going to shield anyways. I'm just going to look to get a shield advantage and then farm down with Shadow Staraptor. And I will throw right away because they do have access to the move. Unlikely that they throw there just because... but there's really no reason for me not to throw. And they throw 2 before I make it to the Hydro Cannon. And I will come into Staraptor, and they come into Talonflame, and that is pretty bad for me. So I will throw the fly. And this is looking pretty rough for me. As you can see, these Incinerates are eating me alive. And I will shield, and I will do 2 more and then throw the fly. And hopefully that's enough to take out the Talonflame. Honestly, I guess I should do 4 because I wouldn't take the second Incinerate damage. And that probably would have been better for me. And I just barely miss out on the fly there. Actually not, I guess I fainted there. So I expect this to be an Overheat and then bail, but I end up shielding and end up being a Play Rough. Now they throw the Hydro at me. That's totally fine. But still not over yet. I guess so I'm going to do 3, then throw. And I will throw and take out this Swampert. And then I need to land 2 Overheats to take out this Galarian Weezing. And we will see how this is going to play out. I'm going to try to throw as late as possible so I don't debuff my Fairy Winds. Not that it's doing that much damage anyways. Actually, probably really doesn't matter. So I will throw the Overheat. And they should be 2 away from a Brutal Swing. I'm presuming that they have Play Rough Brutal Swing. And I get the CMP tie and actually win CMP twice in this game. But I guess against the Talonflame, the better play is to do 4 then throw. Because I wouldn't take the second Incinerate damage. Just let me know if that's correct, or at least I do 3 because I already take the Incinerate damage. So it's better if it's going to KO that I should do at least 1 more. I wouldn't take any additional damage and get a little bit more energy. Obviously, very not the worst lead, but I am going to switch and they come into Tentacruel, and I absolutely get decimated in this matchup here. As you can see, this is where Brutal Swing would be way more handy. And I throw the player off, does not do that much damage. So I'm just gonna fast forward through this matchup because I get absolutely obliterated in this game here. And I come into Swampert, and they come into Greninja. I'm gonna bank that this is a Night Slash, and I switch, and you're gonna see here. I'm gonna no shield this. I really don't have much play here, but you can see. Did they boost like because the Night Slash did such a ridiculous amount of damage? I throw here, they end up no shielding, and then now I'm just gonna get fast moved down by the Shadow Dragonite. Absolutely destroyed here by this team. Very well played by the opponent there, and we got some very nice friendship there. Tough lead. Like, it's not the worst. I probably win the 0 versus the Greninja. Maybe that's the way to play it. Okay, pick up a good lead. I picked up so many Ampharos leads. So I do have to be careful that if it has Trailblaze, which is, I think someone told me is 4-4-3. So they end up trying to catch the move, and they come into, I will throw the fly at them, which CMP tie with Sludge Bomb. They actually end up no shielding there, and they're going to farm up a decent amount here. So they did, now they're at 5 volt switches, and they throw the Thunder Punch. I will let this go, because I know this can't be a Trailblaze. So they throw the Brutal Swing. I will go for the Earthquake. They end up no shielding, and they come into Melmetal, and this is a very good situation for me, and the opponent realizes that there's not really too much play that they have at this point in time. And that worked out pretty okay for me. They're obviously double weak to Swampert. Now, Swampert is not the most common Pokemon in the meta, mostly because of Poliwrath pushing it out. And we have Deoxys. Awkward situation here. Deoxys is actually pretty decent against all 3 of my Pokemon. Obviously, the counter is doing good neutral damage versus my Swampert. And then as well, they have Thunderbolt and Psycho Boost or Rock Slide for my backline. So I'm going to no shield this. And they come into Greedent. I'm going to bank an EQ, then look to switch. And I'm going to have to take another Body Slam because I was a little bit slow on the switch. I will survive a second Body Slam. That's totally fine. And I'm going to CMP tie on the Body Slam, hoping that they... Actually, I'm not sure what I want here. I guess a shield would be better, but unlikely that they will shield. And they come into Deoxys. I only get 1 wing attack there. So I will throw the Hydro. They're at 6 now. So they're 1 over the Psycho Boost. And I should have waited the clock there, but I'm in a good spot here. So because I have Play Rough, this is an example where Play Rough is actually really handy. Though I probably still win this matchup without Play Rough since I double resist the Dragon Tails. As you can see, the Dragon Tails are not doing very much. And they're just looking to stall the clock as much as possible. And I'm going to do 1 and throw the Play Rough. I should have undercharged more here. Yeah, too much there. And I take them out. And I'm actually in a pretty decent spot here. I do expect them to Thunderbolt here because I would survive the Psycho Boost. I think it does about half. And the counters are double resistant. I'm just going to throw the Overheat because this will put them into Earthquake range. And I believe the Overheat does more damage than the Play Rough. Someone can let me know otherwise. I think it's like base 130 versus Play Rough is base 90 with Stab. So in theory, it does like a decent amount more than the Play Rough. All right, we pick up a good lead. Swampert into Sandslash, and they come into Gliscor. And this is interesting, and they actually end up no shielding. This is actually totally fine for me. I'm going to let this go. And a Night Slash, and they actually come into Mandibuzz here. I almost misplayed this game. I will throw the Fly, And they actually go for it. They commit to the full farm down. Maybe at this point in time, I should have threw the close combat. Actually, yeah, I don't know. I guess it would do slightly more, but I got an extra wing attack there, and I should have waited the clock there. I was too eager to try to take it out because I thought they were gonna throw. I should have shielded here because this Mandibuzz could take me out. I will switch out, and I'll end up CMP tying with the Sand Slash. This is just an Ice Punch. So I know it can survive an Ice Punch no matter what. They do end up no shielding. I will shield, and then I'll throw at 5, which is basically when I get to my next Hydro Cannon anyways. And then I will no shield against this Sand Slash. And I'm actually a little bit surprised they just didn't switch out right away into, I guess they should, the clock should be up now, but they try to farm me down. Unfortunately, awkward timing for them to to switch in, because I don't take the second Air Slash there, and I'm able to mud shot down. The Shadow Claw would KO me there, but because I did the move that KO'd, they didn't register, or they didn't click here. Yeah, I probably should have shielded. I should have waited the clock. Yeah, a little bit too rushed there because the clocks weren't aligned. So Giratina, what did I do here? I went to Wheezing here, and they come into Talonflame, and this is absolutely brutal here. Very, very tough here with no Brutal Swing. Obviously, Play Rough is coming pretty handy in several situations, but they're able to farm me down, and it's a little bit too rough for me here, so I'm just going to speed this up here. I get another Play Rough off, though I should probably overheat there. And they have 2 flies, and this is advantage of fly being cheaper, because and then at this point in time, I'm just gonna let it go, put it all onto Staraptor, but there's really like no reasonable win con for me. And they actually do let me see the last Pokemon, which ends up being a Tapu Fini, and I just get Water Gun down. So really, really nicely played by the opponent. If I would have came in with Staraptor, then I would have had some play there. So it would have been pretty tough there. So this one I decided to play out. I try to catch the second one. I throw the EQ at them. So the EQ, now they are 1 off the next Dragon Claw. So I'm hoping to catch it. But they have no real big incentive to throw right away. And they come into Lantern, which is actually good for me to see here, as opposed to on my Staraptor. Because Staraptor will get absolutely destroyed by Lantern. And I will let this go. And I will throw the Play Rough. And we will see what they're going to do here. I can survive a Surf. I will let this go because I will survive it. I have a Hydro banked. And I don't know what's going to come in, so I just switch out right away. Fortunately, it's Poliwrath, which is very bad for me. So I think I actually end up losing this game. Yes, this is an example where 2-shield Poliwrath just really got awful for me. Yes. I will throw on CMP, but it really doesn't matter here. Because I will end up getting countered down. They'll just combo play me with Giratina, and the Hydro wouldn't do enough anyway. So tough matchup here. So, and we end up with another tough matchup. Actually, this might have been my worst set in the... They end up throwing the Icy Wind at me. Let's see. How do I play this out here? They actually come into Ampharos, which is good. Bait out the Electric. And they end up throwing the Trailblaze at me. So they must have like Brutal Swing or something like that. I'm not quite sure. I think I end up double shielding and farming this all the way down, which gives me a ton of energy. So they end up throwing 2 moves here, and I throw the Earthquake, and I need them to throw with their Poliwrath because obviously Staraptor can't take any damage. So I end up throwing the Hydro Cannon. And I will let this go. Well, I have to let it go. But they throw the Icy Wind, which I end up surviving, and I switch out, and then they come into Registeel, which is very good for me. And I will, if they would have taken out my Swampert, then I actually would lose this game. But because they didn't throw, and they have to throw before I get the next close combat. And now all I have to do here, either they have to execute the perfect undercharge here, but now all I have to do is double up on the Hydro Cannon, and I should be good here. And I will double up on the Hydro, and now I have the Hydro Cannon for the Poliwrath. I certainly would have lost if they scalded me. And then I win the game there. So GG's. Very well played. Okay, nicely done there. And I think this is going to be the last game I'm going to show here. And we'll see how this one turns out. Oh, Greninja here. Another very tough lead here. I don't know why I threw a 1-mud shot there. They actually come into Venusaur. I will let this go. Oh man, I think I could lose this game too, but this is actually a pretty good game. So I go to 100 here, and then I throw the Overheat. Unfortunately, it does not KO. And I will let this go. And then I end up throwing the Poliwrath. I just barely survived there. I will throw the Poliwrath, and they actually no-shield this Poliwrath, but it is quad debuffed. And unfortunately, this Greninja has a little bit too much health. They do throw the Hydro Cannon. And I will shield this again, but unfortunately, what they have in the back is that Hydro Cannon would do a ridiculous amount of damage. So I will attempt to catch the... maybe I miscounted here. I think I went 1 early there. Right? Did I go 1 early? I think so, because I think they only did 3 Bullet Seeds there. So if I would have perhaps timed it better, or if I just threw the... I don't know there. Yeah. Anyways, I'll throw this here, and then unfortunately I don't survive the Rock Slide, but again, if you want to check out all the battles, you can check it out on twitch.tv/KingIV or check it out on YouTube. It went like 3-2, 4-1, 2-3 here, and 4-1 and 4-1. So that's something, yeah. Anyways, I did pretty well with this team. So anyways, if you want to try out a fun team, it's definitely one that requires a lot of finesse and a lot of game planning, but it's definitely a fun one if you want to try it out. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.